Welcome in the latest episode of That SEC Podcast, brought to you by Twisted Tea. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Vols on Twitter. What's up, yo, Tissy Hober?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Oh, man. Was I surprised today, Shane? And I know you're envious because
I know.
I got a package delivered to my house. They tried to deliver it yesterday, Shane. But I was doing a live show. It was actually the live show I do with Braden. Mm-hmm. Couldn't get the door, but so today I knew I had to get it, even though I was in the middle of something very important. But I knew I had to get that door, and here it was, Shane. It was over 90 pounds of Twisted Tea product, and I'm not even opening it, brother, till I get down to your house. So we'll be fully stocked for the entire football season.
Or at least a good weekend, you know? It's been a while since we've hung out, Mike. You know? I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be awesome. And thanks for the sponsors for sending out. I mean, we got so many Game Time sending us cups. We got Twisted Tea. We got the beard trimmer coming in. I got to get on that, you know. So it's been awesome, man. But yeah, a little alcohol and football. I mean, it's just right here, Mike. A couple weeks away. We got the 13th. So I'm terrible with math. What is that, a week?
Yeah, a little over a week. A week and 2 days. We'll have Vanderbilt hosting Hawaii week 0, the first game of the SEC season. And I know Shane is heated over here, so we got to open with this because of that Commodore Stadium. They're calling it First Bank Stadium now. It's the only sponsored stadium. But hell, half the stadium ain't standing up anymore, is it?
Oh, my gosh. And if you've not seen it, get on the YouTube channel. We're showing you a picture right now. Mike's going to put this thing in there. If you're looking at it, it looks like a high school stadium, and both end zones are complete construction zones. And we're like a week away from football. You know what I'm saying? There is like they're just started on it. I don't understand that. I'd look at programs like Tennessee that do these massive remodels and doesn't miss a beat, doesn't miss one game. And Vanderbilt's like, you know when we should start this construction? At kickoff. You know? It's like, what the hell are we doing here, man?
Well, in fairness, Shay, they've been doing it for a little while. They didn't do the spring game because of the construction. It's been going on that long. But, yeah, I mean, the point remains the same. Was it our buddy Chris Lee?
What construction? I mean, there's nothing there.
Well, what they're doing, Shane, is they're going to have one side of the stadium kind of filter into their football facility. So that's a massive project. Now, why both ends of the stadium are gone at the same time, I cannot answer that. But what was the our buddy Chris Lee, Vandy Sports, threw it out there. Was it like 28,000 capacity is going to be? I believe that's the number for Vanderbilt this fall. So I mean, it's a shell of itself right now.
No, I get that. I get there's progress, and we got to do this, but it just seems like there's also time. I mean, could they not do this during bowl season? You know what I'm saying? Last year they could have knocked this out like December, started it then, and then by kickoff start on the stadium, and then by kickoff work on I'd rather them be working on the facilities right now than the actual venue itself, which is going to be. I mean, it's a laughingstock, Mike, and it shouldn't be. This is one of the forget what you want to say. Vanderbilt's in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? And that comes with certain expectations. I'm looking at this new stadium that they're doing out in Kansas. You see that? Mm-hmm. Kansas, that shitty football program, that god-awful program. That stadium looks 10,000 times better than this Vanderbilt stadium's going to look. And I don't get it. I don't understand that, Mike. Vanderbilt can do something. If we got to have a country music singer come out at the end of every quarter to attract people to this stadium, it can be done. It's just kind of embarrassing. But again, it is progress. So kudos to Vanderbilt for finally doing something over there, I guess.
Well, I'm not trying to make your blood pressure go crazy, Shane, but I don't think this is even going to be done for 2024 season, as I understand it. So hopefully Hopefully they have the sides of the stadium up, but I think it's not till 2025 that this whole thing will be done. I believe that's correct.
Jeez Louise. This thing, it holds like 24,000 people, Mike. Could you imagine Tennessee coming there? That's 23,000. You know? Yeah. Georgia coming up. I mean, it's just, wow.
Maybe they just got one guy a day working on it. I don't know.
That's like construction at my house, Mike. You know, the house I've been building for 3 years? Yeah, I'm still not into that thing. So the same guy, that's where he's been. That's where he's been this whole time. He's down there in Nashville. So, geez Louise.
Well, moving on, Shay, to a team that's actually going to factor into the SEC race. Let's kick it on down to Alabama, where arguably the biggest question in the entire SEC right now, Shane, is what will the Crimson Tide do at quarterback? And according to Nick Saban, doesn't sound like they're any closer to an answer. About 2 weeks away here from kickoff.
Regarding the quarterbacks, do coaches kind of provide some off-the-field evaluation on if the quarterbacks are kind of living up to the leadership habits and communication you guys want from a starter in that role?
You know, what I tell the quarterbacks is it's not up to the coaches. You're looking over your shoulder to see if the coach is going to do this or that. How about you forcing me to play? Forcing me to play you. Force us to play you. When you get your reps and you get a chance to play, you play so good, we don't have any choice but to play you rather than worrying about all this other stuff. So that's the only way I can answer your question.
All right, Shay, so he's begging someone, please, God, force me to play you out here.
Yeah.
Because they're not seeing it. Up and down, we talked about the scrimmage. Sounds like Jalen Milroe had the best scrimmage for what that's worth. But how concerned are you, Shane, that we're sitting here, and again, 2 weeks away from kickoff? I realize MTSU not a formidable. They could roll out any quarterback. They're going to beat the hell out of MTSU. But it's mostly about that week 2 game. Texas comes to town. Will Texas finally live up to the hype? If it's a shootout, I don't know if we got confidence right now in the Alabama quarterback to win a shootout. Do you?
No, man. I'll tell you, how upset is Nick Saban that he brought up that cake analogy? You know, it's like, how many more damn times they going to bring up this metaphor? So, Mike, I told you here a couple of weeks ago, I think this thing gets hammered out in the MTSU game. I don't think it's going to happen during camp. I'm not expecting them to come out and say, hey, this is our guy. You're going to see a 1A, 1B situation. I think we know exactly who those two are going to be, and it's going to be a hot hand. And then moving forward, whoever wins that job will win beating the shit out of MTSU. That's what it's going to come down to, in my opinion.
Now, here's one thing I wanted to throw out to you, Shay, because we say this, we got to be fair to Alabama. You know, maybe these quarterbacks are not looking good because, what do we always say in these camps, Shane? Maybe it's because the defense is just downright dominant. What are the odds that maybe that's why there's been no separation, just because the defense is out here winning practice after practice, winning scrimmage after scrimmage? Could you at least buy into that?
No.
No. Come on, Shane.
No.
Come on. I thought I was the Alabama hater. Come on.
No, I know. You're looking for a silver lining here, but
yeah.
I would spin it a different way. I would say, hey, we got 2 guys out here really competing, or maybe even 3. Hell, we don't know at this point. Maybe we got 3 guys that are, you know, that could lead this team to an SEC championship or something like that. You know, I get what you're saying about the defense, but when the one's not in, he's going against the 2. So you're telling me the second string is so damn dominant that guy's not stepping. I'm not buying that. But yeah, I guess I don't know. We'll spin it. We'll spin it any way you want, Mike. It's preseason. You know what I'm saying? It's. I'll be positive. I apologize. Sorry, I got upset. Vanderbilt got my blood pressure up right out of the gate.
Well, here is one positive note, Shane. Sophomore tight end, Amari Nyblack. This is a guy that I've heard positive things about, and apparently he has taken his game to another level, Shane. He's been running with the first team. He had one of the best performances of anybody in the first scrimmage in training camp. Nick Saban calls this guy a mismatch in the passing game. Let's kick it over to Saban one more time.
How have you seen a guy like Amari Nyblack not only progress as a receiver, but also as a blocker?
Yeah, he's doing great. You know, he's gotten bigger. He's gotten stronger. He understands the offense a lot better. He is a mismatch player to some degree in the passing game, and he's done a really good job. He was very productive in the first scrimmage. And he is blocking better. And I think that he can be an impact player for us if he continues to grow and progress, and we're excited about his future.
All right, Shane, but hey, at least if we don't know who the quarterback is, at least we got confidence to know he's going to be surrounded by weapons. And this is a guy, Nyblack, that, really not even on the radar till now. I mean, again, whoever the quarterback is, you got to have confidence that he's going to put up some numbers with all these weapons, right?
No, I agree with you, man. And I feel like, too, a new guy in the system coming out, he's going to have some check downs. And that's why you always look for the tight ends. You always look for maybe a running back that can come off the side. It's like, who can help me? Where's my safety blankets at? So I'm this makes me the happiest is that we are having some of that talent emerge around him. So whoever is taking that snap is going to have some options out there. So no, this is good news, man.
Now, what about this though? The final thing from Nick Saban, then we'll move on. But I thought it was kind of interesting, Shane, where he just basically said we're wanting more guys to be self-motivated than we're seeing here in camp. So let's kick it over to Nick Saban. I got something to ask you on the other side.
Your analogy about quarterbacks being like a cake in the oven with this question and try to apply it to leadership. When you look at leadership on the whole, if you looked at it like a cake in the oven, how close to being fully baked do you see that being?
There's a couple things about leadership. Everybody talks about leadership all the time, but I think it's also important that how many guys on the team need to be led. So if you got a bunch of guys that are mature and going about things the right way, they're all setting a good example. They're all buying in. They're all doing the things that they need to do. So they don't really necessarily have to have somebody impact them every day to do the right things. And the more guys that we have that fit in that category, that's more important than the guys that are the leaders on the team. Because I think that's what you're trying to get. Now, there are some guys that have an impact on other players. And I think that, there's a couple guys in the offensive line that has provided some really good leadership. I think there's some guys on defense that have some maturity that's provided some leadership. We actually need it at every position because if you have guys at every position that are setting a good example every day by what they do, it gives young players somebody to emulate. And I think that's important. But I'll go back to my original point. The fewer guys that we have that need somebody to emulate, the better off we're going to be.
So I'm not disagreeing with him at all because I think as much as we want to make these coaches out to be, the rah-rah guys that jack everybody up, it really is led by the players.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand what he's saying, but does it concern you at all that again, we're 2 weeks from football here and we're searching for leadership in Tuscaloosa kind of based on these comments?
Well, I guess the bad thing is it keeps coming up,
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like Nick's out here saying, hey, we've got a few of these boys that need to grow up, that need to realize that this isn't, say what you want, man. I know the kids, and that's hard. I can't get my kid to do shit. My youngest one especially, you know what I'm saying? It's that TikTok generation, I call them, they're bullheaded and they get sidetracked and a little spice of ADHD, it's just because they're always on their phones and stuff, whatever. But they're kids and they got, now a lot of them got money in their pocket and they're ready to spend it and have some fun. I get that, but Nick's coming out here saying, "Hey man, this is a job. We brought you here for a job, and we need you to treat it as such. And if you're not putting in the hours, before you clock in, then it shows when you're in practice." And I feel like that's what this is. And again, I don't think it's a large group. I think it's 3 or 4 just super gifted, raw talented athletes that's just not taking it as serious as they should.
Mm-hmm. Now, how about this real quick, Shane? I thought this was a great question from, I wish I would have wrote down the guy's name, but one of our listeners here wanted me to ask you this and just kind of both of us weigh in on it. But the doubt, you don't even have doubts about Alabama, but I guess the doubt I have, what would Alabama's record be if they were playing Georgia's schedule? And I'll run down the schedule here. I'll throw it up on the screen. Of course, UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB, all at home, at Auburn, Kentucky at home, at Vandy, Florida and Jacksonville, Mizzou, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, and at Georgia Tech. I mean, with that schedule, I think it's fair to say I'd be a lot higher on Alabama. I mean, at worst, probably 11-1 for me. What do you think?
Well, I think if you did this, if you switched those schedules around right now, when they're talking about these projected 4 teams in the college football playoff, no question, Alabama's name's still going to keep popping up. So I think that's where it's at. It obviously, we can't switch the schedules, but also like how it slowly ramps up. You know, when you don't have a couple of spots hammered out, you know, as far as who's in the, you know, the first spot, mainly the quarterback. I mean, I don't know why I'm beating around the bush here. You know, it helps if you've got a couple of tune-up games before you start jumping into some of that SEC play, and they ramp up real quick. Texas week 2, and if they don't have it figured out by then, they're in trouble. So, that's a great question. I would say undefeated, man. I would say undefeated, maybe. I mean, you could throw
Winning
maybe
in Neyland Stadium.
I don't know. How many times can we throw them? How many times are we going to have to throw them goalposts in the river, you know? I'll do it again. I ain't scared.
Well, speaking of the Vols, Shay, let's kick it down to Knoxville next. They just had their second scrimmage of training camp. It sounds like, you know, no quarterback issues on Rocky Top, brother, because we got Joe Milton firing missiles. We don't even know if he's thrown an interception, Shay. That probably means he's thrown one, but maybe Heupel was looking away when that happened. But here's Josh Heupel when asked about Joe Milton and how accurate he's been during training camp.
With Joe, how was his accuracy today, and how has it been compared to the rest of the camp?
And he was really accurate with the football, really decisive. Been a really good decision maker. I don't know if he's thrown a pick all training camp. Been in control of the protections for the most part. You know, we've continued to push their hand on that side of it. That's Joe, but that's the guys behind him right now too, and I think they've continued to grow in that way.
All right,
Knock on
Shay.
wood, man. Knock on wood, man. Why are you saying? Why are you putting that evil on me, Ricky Bobby?
This has got to be exactly what you want to hear, though, right? A crisp, accurate Joe Milton. That's something that you know, that's kind of the one knock on him, I guess you could say, during his starting time at Tennessee and Michigan. Maybe not the most accurate of passers.
Yeah, you want to hear it, Mike, but you don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because if it doesn't happen, shit like this starts coming back up again. Oh, most accurate, never throw an interception. We threw 3 in the first quarter or something. You know, it's like you don't want to hear any of that, Mike, because Tennessee fans been hurt. You know what I'm talking about. You got that little devil on your shoulder. You know, now he's gotten smaller through the years here. You know, his voice ain't as loud as it used to be, but he's still there. So I don't like, you know, right out of the gate putting too much pressure on my quarterback.
Yeah. Well, he may have some pressure on him, Shane, because Cooper Mays, unavailable. We knew, you know, we've talked about that. He had to have surgery. Josh Heupel was asked about, you know, the expectation. Will he be ready to go for the season opener? And really, you know, I have no inside knowledge, so maybe this is not fair, Shane, but this feels like one of those where it's like, all right, he may not go for Virginia, but we're favored by 40 points. Can we get him back by Florida? And it's going to be one of those that lingers into the season. I could be completely wrong, but I just seen this story one too many times. So let's kick it over to him. Asked about Cooper Mays. Kind of dances around it, but remains optimistic that he will play in the opener.
Secondly, with Cooper, do you feel like you're in holding pattern until he gets back? Or is it more preparing to play Virginia without him?
When you say holding pattern,
Just, he's going to be back soon, so we just need he'll be back and everything will be fine for the opener, or are you preparing, we need to be ready to play without Cooper?
no, I mean, we believe we'll have an opportunity to have him back. Everything's gone well since, you know, he, you know, missed training camp and had the issue that he had. But at the same time, like, and it's true for every position, but in particular the offensive line, like, you better have contingency plans. You don't know when that's going to happen. You know, a guy gets an ankle. You guys have seen that since we've been here, you know, and so every week you got to understand, you know, where you're at going into the game, how you want to manage and play those guys if you're healthy. But if something happens to one of those 5 guys, somebody gets nicked up, who's the next in? How are you shuffling your front 5 if, in particular, a center goes down? So those are things that, you work through every training camp and throughout the course of the season.
All right, Shane. So maybe not even, I guess we're just totally disrespecting Virginia. If you missed it on the last episode, Brett Sianka Pick 6 previews, he said, what's the spread? 34 something points. I'm taking Tennessee at the 34. So Virginia will not stand any chance whether Cooper Mays plays or not. But how big is it to get Cooper Mays in there for that Florida game for SEC play for them Vols, do you think?
I don't think we need to rush it, but it feels to me kind of like the Juice Wells situation. It's like, I think if we need to play him, we can, but will he be ready? I mean, it's just, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I guess that's not comparable. We're not playing North Carolina and game day there. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's not a fair assessment. But I think in this situation, if it is one of those, he kind of referenced ankle. I don't even know what the injury is. I would imagine it's lower leg. If that's the case, why push it? This is a guy that has had a track record of injury problem. So why force him to speed up that rest when he could come in week 2 or, like you said, even week 3? It just depends on, I guess, some of these young kids who steps up in his place.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm hearing really good things about the left tackle for what it's worth. John Campbell, the transfer from Miami. So I think they got themselves a centerpiece to build around. Spraggins is a great player. Still trying to figure out one guard spot and one tackle spot. But if Cooper Mays can get back in the lineup, that would be huge. If not, you may have 2 question marks in the middle of that offensive line. That could be a real issue.
And that's what's tough. That's what's tough with centers too, man. They're typically the captain. They're making sure everybody's in the right spot, picking up the right people. I mean, they're like a quarterback, and it's not just hey, we'll just plug in another lineman. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way. That's why it's such a pivotal piece in an offense.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you who's not a question mark, Shane, and that's Jalen Wright. Sounds like he is poised for a big breakout season. I'll let the audience know we're going to be sponsored by Prize Picks once again. You might want to circle Jalen Wright's name for the Prize Picks early in the season. Let's kick it over to Josh Heupel.
What kind of offseason and camp has Jalen Wright had? He's always been such an impressive guy when he gets out in space, athletically. How's he done in terms of staying healthy, doing all that stuff?
Yeah, he's been healthy throughout the course of training camp. His body's dramatically different. He's one of the guys that we recognize as we started training camp just for what he had done in the offseason, the changes that he had continued to make to his body. Been very intentional in his work. He's continued to grow, and just being able to have a championship mindset, be able to reset from play to play with passion, not playing just straight out of emotion. Been great with the young backs. He's been a great leader, great teacher for those guys. He's into it when he's not even the guy that's getting the reps. On the football side of it, he's a guy that, as you said, early in his career, just wanted to run around everything and just use his speed to his advantage. That's how he had kind of developed as a young back in high school with some of what they did. He can still do all those things, but he's got really good vision. He understands blockers. He understands how to use them. He delivers double teams to the second level. He finds space. His vision on the backdoor cuts his grown. He's doing it at the right time. He's playing at a really high level.
All right, Chase. So basically every hype video Tennessee's throwing out there these days features a big old Jalen Wright run. One of the fastest players, arguably, on the entire team. Sounds like he's ready, committed to be a breakout star for Tennessee. And this is what I've said to many people, Shane. I think this rushing attack, I think they're going to lean on it this year, at least early in the Joe Milton era. I think Jalen Wright is poised for a huge season.
Yeah, I'm telling you, brother, these a couple of highlights coming out. It's like, and his legs, they just keep churning. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take several folks to bring him down. He's definitely put some weight on, but he's still fast as hell. So, yeah, true specimen there, and he's going to be a hell of a talent up there in Knoxville.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of hell of a talent, Shay, let's kick it all down to Baton Rouge for my pick to win the West, them LSU Tigers, Shane, and sounds like some issues there with Mr. Denver Harris, who has had his own issues. He's not been practicing. He's not been in the lineup. Very first question Brian Kelly got on Wednesday when he met with the media. What is the status of your sophomore corner?
Brian, just what is the status of Denver Harris with the team right now?
Denver is handling some personal matters, and if he takes care of everything, could have him back this weekend.
Well, Shane, personal matters. That's code for got in trouble some way, shape, or form, and Brian Kelly in the spring has made it be known. I mean, this is Denver Harris's last opportunity, and it sounds like it's not going great already.
Yeah.
Can't write him off just yet, but I hear they're pretty confident in the first string, and he's not even running with the second team when he gets back. So
it's kind of wild how it just kept rolling. It's like somebody's like, wait a minute, he's not the team photo. He's not. Is his email good? And they're checking his email. Oh, it's still good. They're going back and forth. We're trying to figure out where this kid's at. Obviously he had a really, really short leash when he came down there, and I don't know, Mike, and I'm not going to speculate or anything like that, but, that Texas A&M group that left, everybody's like, oh, shit, all these guys going places, and then they're getting kicked out of those schools, so we'll see. Now, he ain't officially kicked out of LSU, but man, I'm telling you, brother, he ain't got too many places to go.
Right, yeah, so this is certainly a situation to monitor, Shane, but one thing I did love to hear from Brian Kelly, the emphasis they're putting on special teams, Shane, and I'm hearing even Harold Perkins is doing special teams. Omar Spates, the all Pac-12 player from Oregon State, who's going to be their starting middle linebacker, he's doing special teams. Many, many others on special teams, including one guy to keep your eye on, Shane, Aaron Anderson, the transfer from Alabama. He was a 5-star recruit, went to Alabama for a year, transferred back home to Louisiana. He's going to be our punt returner. So here's Brian Kelly on putting these key players on special teams to solve what was the biggest issue with the Tigers last season.
What does adding a starter, so to speak, to special teams do for the messaging and the importance of that part of your game? And have you seen that impact the guys' understanding of how important it is to the game?
Meaning, could you explain yourself? I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question.
I don't remember seeing a ton of starters in coverage roles last year, and we're seeing them now, I guess. Does that set the tone of just how important you all are taking it?
Yeah, I think that's part of it, and I think we had a pretty frank conversation with our guys about what the NFL rosters look like. I mean, for these guys to make these rosters, I'll just give you an example. From the fourth round pick or later, it's about a 20% chance of making a roster. So you better have more in your resume than just being a positional player. You better play special teams as well. So we're just trying to be transparent with our guys and let them know that, this is what it looks like. Look, if you're a bona fide first-round draft pick, special teams doesn't necessarily need to be on your resume. But we don't have 5 first-round draft picks. We got a lot of really good football players, but they need to enhance their resumes.
All right, Shane. So, I mean, I get it. Some fans probably don't want their star players on special teams that often, but the commitment to it, and I think Brian Kelly makes one hell of a point too, where, hey, a lot of these guys, this is whether they want to face this reality or not, their careers in the NFL may hinge on their ability to play special teams. So smart all the way around. What's your thoughts on a bunch of starters playing special teams for LSU?
Yeah, I think you got to do it. I mean, college football, any football is 3 phases. It's offense, defense, and special teams. And, hell, look at LSU struggled. I mean, they probably would have had more wins. South Carolina probably wouldn't have as many wins if they didn't have special teams. So, yeah, it's a pivotal piece, and you're starting to see more and more colleges do it. And because you see it in the pros, you watch a Bill Belichick team. You remember? I remember. What's his name? The tight end, Gronkowski.
Oh yeah,
got hurt on a field goal. And I'm like, what the hell
I thought
is
you
he
were going
doing?
to say the other tight end.
No, we're not going to do that, Mike. But I'm just saying, it hurt because he was on my fantasy team. I'm not going to lie. And I was like, what the hell is he doing on the, but I get it. I understand it. If you got superb athletes, you put them there in special teams. And in the college, it mimics that. If you're gonna make it in the NFL, man, you gotta be able to wear a lot of hats, and one of those hats is going to be special teams. So no, I'm not surprised that actually look at Alabama. How many times do we see Tua out there and like, what the hell is Tua taking a snap on a field goal? What if he gets hit? But
Yeah.
that's just that mentality, brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The elite of the elite have to have it, Shane. And one guy that I hear is going to be elite. I mean, he's already flashed it. He was the most consistent receiver despite not being the biggest name on the roster last year. And that's Malik Neighbors, who many, many, many people who know what they're talking about got LSU as arguably the top receiving core. We don't say that enough. So probably we're underrating him, Shane. But Malik Neighbors sounds like he has taken his game to another level, and if he can be an All-American type player, just imagine how dynamic this LSU offense can be. So let's kick it over to Brian Kelly one more time.
Brian, Malik Neighbors seems like he's playing fantastic right now. What is it that is maybe allows him to separate himself as a receiver, and where have you seen him maybe take some improvements in his game?
I think it's his mindset. His skill level has always been there. So when I talk about his mindset, it's his ability to come out every single day and maintain his emotions and really focus on what's important, and that is being at his best during practice and not being distracted by anything. I thought at times he got distracted. Quite frankly, and let things on the peripheral get in the way of how he came to practice. And he'd had some ups and downs during his practice. This year so far, very little to no distractions has put him in a position where his practicing has been very consistently at a high level. If he stays at that level and eliminates the distractions that are so easy to pop up today, he's in line to do some real special things.
And how about these numbers, Shane? So this is the last 4 games of last season from Malik Neighbors. He really started to catch fire in this system. UAB, I get it, not a great team, but 7 catches, 129 yards. That's 18 yards per catch.
Yeah.
Against A&M, 7 catches, 69 yards. That's 10 yards per catch. That was his worst game. Georgia, 5 catches, 128 and a touchdown. That's over 25 yards per catch. And then against Purdue in the bowl game, 9 catches, 163 and a touchdown, over 18 yards per catch. He really, really caught fire, Malik Neighbors did at the end of last season. And if he carries that over, he will be an All-American.
Well, Mike, that's why he's on every watch list that's out there. I mean, the guy is an absolute freak and continue to be so. He's going to be the next LSU great to come through. I mean, think about the dudes LSU has put in the league. So he will be yet another one. And I'm not surprised, but one thing I want to ask you, Mike, because you and we're both really high. On Texas, and I'm not asking for a ranking or anything like that, but when you ask for about the best wide receiver cores in the SEC, LSU's one of those that pops up the most. I would say with Georgia, Alabama, of course Texas A&M, even Tennessee. I've seen a few, but
Kentucky.
Are we sleeping on LSU's wide receivers?
I think so, Shane, and I think a lot of that has to do with maybe. I mean, you hear Jaden Daniels. A lot of people have him as a high-end quarterback, but I think most people just assume he's just a runner and he can't make the tough throws. Where he certainly proved that to me that he could. So I think LSU and maybe us in particular have underrated the weapons, but Of course, that's a big reason why I like them to win it all, man. I think tons of players on this team got breakout potential, and a lot of that has to do with the receiving core.
Do you think LSU has 5 first-rounders on that team right now? You know, he made that comment, and I was like, I bet you could find 5. You know, you got 2 on the offense or defensive line,
right?
You know, Neighbors, he could be one. Jaden, I mean, eventually, I could see him as a first rounder.
Yeah, Will Campbell, the left tackle's pretty outstanding. Yeah, I mean Harold Perkins, of course.
Oh shit, yeah. Yeah, he's got. What's he talking about?
I think he's got 5 eventually. Maybe what he's saying is we don't got 5 for the next draft.
I got you.
I'll give him the benefit of the. You know, he's doing what Kirby's doing, what Saban's doing. We ain't got no players. They're not good enough. They're showing me nothing. I think he's got to sprinkle some of that in there. You know what?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, one guy that's not buying his hype, Shane, and I love this. Last thing for LSU. Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback who had his opportunities to exit the program, and a lot of people assumed he would, and Walker Howard would stay on to kind of apprentice under Jaden Daniels, but it was the reverse. Walker Howard left, Garrett Nussmeier stayed. Here's Garrett Nussmeier on why he made that decision to stay at LSU.
Since coming back or announcing that you're coming back, kind of take me through that process, and what did you want to get out of this year for the future?
You know, I think what I wanted to get out of this year is the same that I want to get out of any year. You know, it's just continuing to get better, you know, never accepting of what I am, you know, and I'm always in competition with what I have the potential to be, you know, not with what I am now. And I think that's kind of the mindset that I've taken. You know, I think, like you said, coming back, I mean, I don't think it was that hard of a decision for me. You know, this is where I want to be. You know, my roots are in this state. This is my home, and it means something to me to represent LSU and to represent this state and these fans. And also, you know, with my teammates and coaches, you know, I've learned to build relationships with the new staff, and, you know, I have a lot of love for them. And, you know, also with my teammates, you know, I wanted to finish what we started. So.
All right, Chad, I don't know if the audience has noticed this yet, but I love to highlight these guys that stay, because we just live in this era now, and more power to them. I'm not calling players out that transfer or anything, but it's just unique when a guy decides not to transfer. And, you know, I think Garrett Nussmeier is going to play a decent amount this year because of his arm talent, and I'm sure they assured him that any opportunity they can get him on the field, they're going to do it. And hell, he could probably be a starter at a couple different spots across the SEC, probably more than a couple, had he decided to enter the transfer portal. So I think that also makes that unique. But it speaks to the program, it speaks to the culture, and I think it speaks to Garrett Nussmeier's belief that Brian Kelly and company are going to win championships and they're going to develop them.
No, it's a good. I mean, because you don't see it often. Obviously, when you lose, typically you see these kids hitting the transfer portal and going somewhere else, and I don't know. Sometimes sometimes you need a mentor. Sometimes you need somebody to sit you down. Maybe, I mean, he's got. Everybody knows his family, you know, and say, hey, what other better situations are out there than where you're at right now? I get that you're not playing, but you're behind a mobile quarterback that could get banged up at any time. You know, this is an SEC. Typically, look at last year. How many quarterbacks started the season and then ended the season? It happens, and I hate to say it, but then you also got the opportunity next year to be the starting quarterback at LSU or look at. So I think there's just, I don't know, this is a grown up move that you don't see that often, and he's stuck in there and nothing but rave reviews. I mean, it almost became a quarterback competition down there, it sounded like.
Right. Well, and speaking of grown up moves, Shane, head on over to Manscaped over there. Get you the Beard Hedger Pro. And don't forget to use that promo code SEC for 20% off your entire order and free shipping. That's even international shipping, courtesy of Manscaped.com. Head on over to Manscaped.com/SEC podcast. And again, that promo code SEC for 20% off your entire order. And you don't have to order just the Beard Hedger Pro. They got many fine products there, but the Beard Hedger Pro is the new one. I just shaved it up, cleaned myself up a little bit here this afternoon, Shane, with the Beard Hedger Pro. So again, manscaped.com, promo code SEC. There is a link in the show notes to get that 20% off. and it would really, really help the podcast out if you take advantage of this sponsorship opportunity. All right, Shane, them Arkansas Razorbacks, we focus so much on KJ and Rocket and Sam Pittman and this offensive line and these weapons, but hey, the Arkansas fans know, man, the defense has got to turn the corner if they're going to upset some of these tough teams they got on their schedule. And it's going to start, Shane, with the defensive backs that were just dreadful. Now, a lot of that was due to injury and things of that nature. But, hey, we brought in a ton of guys via transfer. We got an entirely new defensive scheme. And Marcus Woodson, co-defensive coordinator, defensive backs coach, he's done this before, Shane. Took over at Florida State, coaching the secondary. They were one of the worst in the country. Last season, finished number 4 in the entire nation in pass defense. It's not going to happen overnight at Arkansas, but given what Coach Woodson had to say here on Wednesday, Shane, you can already see the seeds are being planted and improvement is being made. Let's kick it over to Marcus Woodson on what it takes to turn around a position group like this that was just so dreadful a year ago.
Until today, in the fastballs that we see and the 2-on-2s and stuff, the DBs have, especially yesterday, and I don't know if that carries through practice, but what have you just made of the competition aspect of how your DBs have played the man stuff that you've worked on?
Well, we started camp off by saying 2 things. We wanted to continue to stack good days. The very first day of camp wasn't a good day for us on the back end. But ever since then, we've stacked good days, and we've been consistent with doing that. And then we said every rep that we put on film has to be a competitive rep. If you put a non-competitive rep on tape, then you won't be on the field. So just putting the emphasis on competing every play and making every rep at practice a competitive rep, and that's what the guys have responded to.
All right, Shane. So Coach Woodson there, he's got me fired up, brother. It's a unit there. We've got to take it day by day, stacking good days on top. And I like the fact that he admitted, hey, KJ got us the first day, brother. It was not a good one here, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And ever since then, the secondary is playing better and better in Fayetteville.
Well, and that's what you see sometimes, when you got a dominant quarterback. A little slow right out of the gate, but iron sharpens iron, and it's the more that you go against KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders, man, you better get better, or you better, that's what I'm saying, or you're going to get your ass kicked every day. So this is what I like to hear, brother, and I'm hearing it from everybody. I got guys DMing me saying, hey, check out this guy on the defensive front, Jeff Coates the real deal, It's like, yeah, absolutely. This is what we want to hear. Arkansas, obviously, they're going to steal the spotlight on the offense side of the ball, but it's the defense that I think is giving Coach Pittman that quiet confidence.
Yeah, and one other comment here from Coach Woodson, Shane, that I love, just because defense, I realize that if you have a player on offense screw up, it could blow up a play, it could blow up a drive. I get that, but I also think at offense with an elite quarterback or an elite receiver or an elite running back, they can erase mistakes by others, right?
Yeah.
On defense, I think, short of Will Anderson just game wrecking you or something like that, it's much more difficult to do on the defensive side of the ball. It really is the weakest link in the chain is going to break that bad boy. So you have to work together. You have to work as a team. Players go down. There's communication and there's tempo and there's one big play. You got to get right back up and do it all over again. I just love this message from Marcus Woodson on staying together, working as a team, improving as a team. I don't know. I think people will get something from this.
Winding back to your first year at Florida State, did you kind of bring up the struggles that secondary experience before you got there when trying to motivate? What lessons did you learn from that kind of turnaround at FSU that maybe you're applying to this group right now?
Yeah, I never look back to last year. You obviously want to have an idea what you're inheriting, if you will. But at the end of the day, it's about today and moving forward, not yesterday. So what I do is go back and look at what are the things we did good are fairly good, and what's the biggest areas of improvement. And whatever those areas of improvement is, that's what we're going to emphasize. And coming here to Arkansas, I felt watching film and just getting some history of what went on last year, the first thing was just us coming together as a group. And it was the same way at Florida State. You know, I tell the guys all the time, if you want to go far, go together. If you want to get there fast, go by yourself. But it's a long journey, and we want to go far, so we're going to go together. And it's a brotherhood, and it's amazing how much you can accomplish just by bringing guys together and having some oneness, if you will. So I'm excited with the chemistry in the room, with where we're going. They know it's going to be a collective deal for us to be successful. It's a we and us mindset, not an I and me.
All right, Shane, I know I'm not fast enough to play defensive back for Coach Woodson, but if I could, this sounds like a guy I'd want to play for.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, it's a little nicer than what Dion's doing over there in Colorado. Like, if one of you fighting, we're all fighting, you know? It's like, yeah, I like this approach a little better, Mike, you know? But it is a team effort, and you got to have each other's back. And there's going to be times you make mistakes. And if the team is close, you know what I'm saying? They can identify it, man. They can realize if you're out of place. They can, pick up the slack if you miss a step or something. So that's what you got to have. You can't have a whole bunch of eyes running around, as Coach says. You got to have a bunch of we's.
Yep. All right, final team to hit on here, Shane. Let's kick it on down to South Carolina real quick, where the SEC's most underrated quarterback. Am I allowed to say that if I'm the one that underrated? I think I am. But he's underrated. He's underrated in my book, Shane. That's Spencer Rattler, where if he catches fire again, the Gamecocks are going to stun the nation once again, and it's going to start in College game day in town in Charlotte for that North Carolina matchup. But I love the fact that he referenced some of the guys that are stepping up, because this is almost identical to what you were asking me about the other day, Shane. With Juice Wells currently sidelined, who's stepping up in the offense? Some interesting names here from Spencer Rattler.
That Omega and Nick have been taking a lot of those first team reps with Juice out. Just what has the connection been like with those two guys? What do you like about having them in that spot?
Yeah, definitely. Omega's been a great weapon for us. Can go get the ball. High IQ football player. You just got to learn the small little details. Obviously, you got Nick, who's just raw, big, fast, still teaching him the ways. But, yeah, Omega had a great scrimmage, hit him for a 75-yard touchdown in the scrimmage. And Nick made some plays as well.
All right. I knew you loved the name, Shane. Omega Blake. And, of course, he's talking about the 5-star outstanding freshman Nicholas Harbor, who everyone should know this name, Shane. Bruce Feldman, college football insider, and every year he writes this article. It's called The Biggest Freaks, or Freaks List, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just physically imposing people and incredible feats. Never, and he's been doing it for like 10 years, never has he done the biggest freak in college football as a true freshman. This year he's done it with Nicholas Harbor. So, national media, they cannot wait to see what South Carolina has. And, that could be something that we're all, I know we got excited when they landed a 5-star and all that, but he wasn't there for spring. Now he's there. He's tearing it up, apparently. That could be something that we're all overlooking, that, because remember, he's like 6'5", 6'6". He's faster than, he's legitimate track speed. I don't know if he's guardable. You know what?
Man, Mike, I tell you what. See, wouldn't it be amazing to be that gifted? You know what I'm saying? 6'5", sub 4. It's just, the guy's just a freak athlete, and that's why he's on the field. And he doesn't have to have the whole playbook memorized right now. Just give him 10 good plays out there, and that's what they'll get. So, man, South Carolina's got some weapons. They got some dudes, and I know Juice is banged up a little bit, but if he gets out there, buddy, when you look at that schedule, South Carolina schedule, they've got North Carolina. The first month they've got North Carolina, they got Georgia, they got Tennessee, they got who was the other one? Mississippi State. Those 4 tough opponents, man, right there in the month of September, and it almost changes your entire trajectory. Coming off that awesome season last year, it ramps up real quick this season, and you're going to need dudes like this to step up and help you out. So, yeah, maybe we are sleeping. It's crazy as a Tennessee fan to say that I'm sleeping on South Carolina because they beat the shit out of us. But, maybe we are, man. There's just something about it. The confidence of Rattler, Coach was a little frustrated yesterday, so I tried to read into that. But you don't know. But, man, if it all comes together, brother, and then we're sitting there at the end of September and maybe they go 4-1, then all of a sudden you better be paying Beamer before he gets back home. You know what I'm saying? If you want him to stick around, you better give him some money.
Yeah, the only other clip I got here, Shane, I just thought this would be music to the ears of Gamecock fans, but Spencer Rattler, best camp he's ever been a part of, according to him. And again, this is exactly what you want to be hearing.
So I know out in Nashville, I talked to you about trying to figure out ways to overcome those growing pains early on in the season, especially with a new offensive coordinator. As we sit here today, just over a week plus into fall camp, how would you assess where you guys are, and what do you feel like you guys need to do as you get ready for week one?
This is the best camp I've been a part of. Offensively, I love everything we're doing. I don't feel any growing pains myself. The group has been gelling, been playing fast. We have a ton of explosive plays and touchdowns this camp. I mean, way more than last year, for sure. So, I feel like it's a complete turn. But like you said, we got to come out and do it and prove it. So we're just going to keep stacking days, keep gelling, and keep creating that chemistry.
Since you came back for at least one more year, what are some things as you kind of go through the preseason that you wanted to get better at, whether it's mechanically or technically, and how have you seen that grow over the course of the last 10 or 14 days?
Just working everything with my game. I feel like mechanically I'm sound. Just obviously consistency with, protecting the ball. That was probably the number one thing. Other than that, I'm going to play my game. I trust in what Dow's doing. This offense suits me a lot better, and I'm enjoying it a lot.
All right, Chase, are you buying this? Spencer Rattler heating up? I mean, that Rattler's coming for you. I see that little, GIF online all the time with the Rattler anytime he does something cool. Or I also see him with a cigar. Are we going to be seeing more of the cigar Spencer Rattler this fall, you think?
I hope so, Mike, for your sake. You know what I'm saying? Just so they can drag your ass through the mud. That's all this is. At this point, I am rooting for him to be better than the 8th spot you had him at quarterback, Mike. Just so I can keep seeing those. The one I don't like is when he's counting to 5. That one was a little rough, but the other ones I'll let slide.
Yeah. Well, buddy, that's all I got on this episode of the show. You got anything before we hop off the line?
No, man. We got a little over a week. We got some college football on TV, brother. I'm watching Hard Knocks. It's that time of the year, brother. I love it. Got high school football cranking up. It is awesome, man. I just wish the temperatures come down a little bit. I'm ready for that fall weather. Get that sweater weather, as they say. I'm come down here. We'll eat some chili, drink some shit. We got 100 pounds of twisted tea, Mike. We're gonna have a hell of a weekend that season opener, ain't we?
Yeah, I can't wait, buddy. Well, that's all I got. I appreciate you as always. I appreciate all the cousins out there. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.